we look at these two men, they are both veterans over the age of 30, with Santana slightly the taller, but their records show that both men are vastly experienced and used to winning ways. Pascu by way of knockout, Santana by submission. Given that context, this one may not go the distance. To find out, we go to our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Buddy Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, live tonight right here at the 3 Arena Dublin, we are set for BAMMA 32, BAMMA Dublin, sponsored by RDX Sports and rdxsports.co.uk. RDX, Giant Inside. Presenting tonight inside the cage, 3 5-minute rounds of combat action in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man stands 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighing officially at 171.4 pounds. With 22 wins against 4 defeats, representing Taz Academy from Gran Canaria, Spain, he is Omar Mickey Santana. And his opponent in the red corner, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighing officially at 170.6 pounds. With 16 wins against 7 defeats, representing SBG Ireland from Dublin, Ireland, by way of Bucharest, Romania, Ion Bombadil Pascu. When the action begins, your referee in charge, Mr. Daniel Movahedi.
So, Chris, you heard the response there for the SBG fighter. They've adopted him as an Irishman here, haven't they?
Fighting out of SBG, the Bomber man is back tonight in BAMMA. Touch of gloves, round 1.
And as you saw, the southpaw stance from Ion, and we know how powerful he is. And for us, this is all about strategy, this one, Chris. How Santana's going to handle that power and when he decides to go down. Because when he decides for the takedown, he's got to get past those powerful hands of Ion.
Pascu, a really lethal left hand, but he's got that wrestling game that we haven't seen the last couple times around. Very interesting, but it's smart, really. Take down and pass immediately. Do not mess with the guard of the submission fighter in Santana.
And that's one of the things we must stress here is the Santana ability with the submissions. There's a huge range of ability for this man.
Very, very good scrambles. Nice open guard game. You saw him lasso that leg, reaching over. Got an ankle pick here, a variety of options.
Were you surprised that Pascu went so early for the takedown himself, given his man's reputation?
It was smart. Square hips, a fighter frozen. It was an opportunistic takedown. Pascu, though, has also been smart here. Why dive into the guard? If it's not on his terms, stand up and get back to the kickboxing.
Oh, the high kick just missed, and Santana looks to capitalize with the guillotine immediately. The knee, they split back up, Chris. Explosive start.
Santana standing southpaw now. Typically we see Pascu standing right foot forward, which often means an open stance matchup, playing against a left foot forward fighter. In this case, Santana has actually chosen to mirror up. It gives him some additional options to defend against the tricks, if you will, of a southpaw.
Well, one of the things we noticed about Santana that makes him so exciting is there's almost a fearlessness about his takedown attempts, isn't there?
Beautiful kick to a alternating hook combination there from Pascu. And back to the clinch, but he's going to be smart here. He's not going to press it if it's not on his terms.
And credit to Santana, took those 2 shots very well.
50-50. Short elbow over the top. And a couple of nice exchanges here on the feet.
And as we said, 2 experienced men, 2 veterans of the sport, and it's being reflected in the way they're handling this. We said strategy is key here, and this is what we're seeing.
Pascu needs to be patient. He has a good kicking game as well, but I would expect he would try to be selective. That is to say, not throw lazy single kicks, not be open for a takedown, and probably keep his back to the middle of space like he's doing right here. That's going to be harder for Santana to get in the clinch, and really more difficult. If you look at Santana's track record, he's got a lot of submissions. He's very comfortable when he's pressing you up against the wire. Right now, Pascu, having done his homework, is staying away from that position.
Yes, good footwork from Pascu, as Chris is saying there, and moving nicely and being very patient, because we know just how heavy-handed it is, but it's the little dig with the left hand to the midsection from Santana that comes through.
Santana looking patient, but he's got to keep those hands up. He needs a disciplined defense. You only have to look at Pascu's last performance to realize that he's got one shot, game-changing heavy leather.
Good timing, though, from Santana, and he's waiting and he's catching Pascu on the way in. Pascu looking to double up that jump, but there's sharp hands from Santana at the moment.
Nice inside kick to an overhand.
And the accuracy of Santana's boxing is reflected in the fact that Pascu's nose is bleeding now. He's working his way in, he's stepping up the pace, just misses with that right hook. Pascu now beginning to test Santana upright.
Pascu is a very ruthless striker. He's kind of had to be a little bit more calculated about the way he sets up his combinations, the way he leads. It's important to see the way he leads. Sometimes with the inside low kick, but it's not a really committed low kick. It's just a tap to try to gauge distance.
And twice in this opening round, Chris, we've seen the patience of Pascu, but then we've seen the big hook. The timing and the distancing hasn't been quite right yet, though, has it?
He's looking to set up here. He'll kind of dip his head, try to get Omar to jab, and then he'll come over the top either with a kick, that left kick, right kick, or an overhand left. Typically when you see him dip his head, he's going to look for a power shot.
One thing with Omar as he comes forward, as I said, he's clean and straight with those shots, but his hands are around his waist. It's a dangerous tactic against Pascu. As you said, been very patient. That's why it's dangerous, Chris, those big hooks.
Excellent, again from Pascu, snatching that leg. But he's got to watch his neck here. Omar is a very, very tricky guy off his back. He's got a good jiu-jitsu pedigree for MMA. He takes risks, but he's tapped a lot of guys out. Good guard recovery, the clock running out here.
Yes, interesting opening round from both these men. Now, as the buzzer goes, we felt it would all be about game plans, and Santana's game plan surprised me, actually, Chris.
This was a fight that really, as we looked at it, and many pundits had as well, came down to fight sense and sensibility. How will each other's skill sets play out? Well, we can take a look back at some of the highlights here, and you can see those beautiful combinations from Pascu. Omar thought about reaching for the leg to try to take him down, but Pascu was able to convert a couple of times off combinations and actually put his opponent down to the canvas. Good round for Pascu, but certainly Omar showing he's no slouch either.
There we saw, though, Chris, is the danger for Omar. If he continues with those low hands, his strikes are good himself, but he's open to those big hooks from Pascu. One half step in, a harder connection, and it could be all over instantly.
Well, it's an intriguing showdown here tonight in Dublin at $170. Pascu and Santana. You can hear the crowd tonight are out to support the man from Bucharest, Romania, who now calls Dublin home.
Chris, he stepped up the pace there, right for, knee to the head of a grounded opponent. Dan will have noticed that, which is a shame because he started very fast indeed, and then the big hooking punches, and for the first time, Omar looked to take him down, but he's been shaken by that knee to the head, Omar.
Definitely a good call there from referee in charge, Daniel Movahidi. He may call the doctor in for an assessment here. We'll have to take a look and see how this one plays out. Omar knew that was an illegal shot. Here we go, take a look at the scramble. That's a great call. The right knee down on the canvas. Pascu was looking to catch him in transition, stepping back up. And, you know, it's also worth noting that that was a blind situation partially because Pascu, you know, was looking over the top of the back of Omar. So we wouldn't necessarily have a perfect indication in the middle of the chaos as to Omar's exact positioning down on the mat.
Which is a shame because, as I said, the way the round started, Pascu came out all guns blazing this time. He really put the pressure on quickly. And the reason the knee came in as well was because Omar went back to type then, didn't he? He looked to get the takedown, take his man to the floor, and then, sadly, the knee happened. And as you rightly said, Omar is really being checked over now for that. That would be very sad if it ends this way, because, as you said, I don't think it was intentional. He thought it was in transition, saw the opportunity and went for it. The timing was just wrong.
Looks to me like Daniel Movahidi has asked. Yeah, he's checked to make sure that he's okay to continue. He's obviously asked the doctor's opinion on that as well. Wow. He's going to take points off here. So that's going to come down to really whether or not there was a ruling of intent there. That's a huge, huge, huge result now in favor of Santana. Pascu's really going to go for it here. He's down on the scorecards.
Well, you can hear the crowd respond, and they also responded to the fact that Omar wanted to continue. They did respect that, didn't they, Chris?
Yeah, that was a great show of respect and sportsmanship for the away fighter here. Pascu again with that low kick. He's probably going to kick a little bit more often now because he realizes he may need a stoppage.
I think that's exactly in his mind now, Chris. You will see him step up. He will become more aggressive, a bit more urgency. We said how patient he was in setting up. I think you'll see the urgency change in him now, as we saw there with the high kick and the hooks. He's trying to close that gap and firing, but Omar remaining very calm.
I would have scored that first round 10-9 for Pascu.
Oh, there's the left hook over the top. That's the danger, throwing it again. Omar looks to tie up, but Pascu doesn't let him.
Santana ate that shot. Man, he has a chin of iron.
Well, he's looking to respond because BAMMA is beginning to find his range now. And as I said, he's been spurred on by this point deduction, and rightly so, closing the gap, more urgent. And for me, it's whether Omar really wants to stand in front of him and continue like this.
Santana backing off here. Pascu's going to wait till he's pinned up against the fence and then really unload on him. Once you run out of real estate in this game, it can get dangerous.
And for me, for Santana, even when he's throwing back, the hands are around the waist. He's loose-limbed, he's accurate, but it's a dangerous game to play. He's got those points in the bag. He's got to be conservative now, I feel, and really exploit and capitalize, because he's got caught again and again. He's being punished now, Chris, for that.
Santana again trying to work for the takedown here in desperation mode.
And now it's time for Pascu to really got to work if he can. And Santana, this is the best he can do now, but he was playing a dangerous game and he got punished for it, Chris.
Definitely got rocked there. We've seen this a couple of times, though. Unfortunately, Santana's head position is not optimal at this point. You can see Pascu trying to shuck his head down and really disengage from the clinch.
Santana is cut as well, Chris. I don't know if it's above or below the eye on the right-hand side of his face from those left hooks, but he is bleeding freely now. It's definitely the right eye swelling and cut. As I said, he's accurate himself, but he plays that game. Look, he's open for the hooks. And like you said earlier, it's a dangerous game he plays when he goes for the takedown. He's quite reckless with it.
But he's tricky, you know, he's kind of unorthodox the way he gets a hold of you and drags you down. He's got a lot of confidence in his submission skills, but he hasn't really been able to put Pascu in a bad position yet.
And Pascu must capitalize now. He'll be galvanized by the sight of blood, by the eye damage, and this is a good call for him. You feel he'll continue now to force that pace and take those extra steps in for those big hooks to really punish Omar. And again, he's still flirting with danger here when he does this.
Nice left there again. Pascu was complaining about an eye poke. Dana Movahidi says, play on. Again, you look at Pascu, he dips his head, then up comes that lead leg, or he'll dip his head and throw that left. That's typically the thing to watch out for.
Yes, the chopping low kick and the high kick, and up and down. There's the danger, the short, sharp hook. He's tightening those hooks up now, Chris. He's taking that extra step. He's looking for them as finishers now.
I like how Pascu is making Omar circle to his right and then looking to land that left. He's going to try to corral him into that left shot. More difficult for Omar to see that coming. The visible damage there underneath his right eye.
And Omar looking to stand and trade, which is dangerous because there's a little roll there, as you said, from Pascu when he does it. Again, working him nicely, rightly, as you say, towards his dangerous left hand, and then he throws it again, and it's getting closer every time, Chris.
Clinch here. Santana looking to try to gain some leverage here. I like the grip he's got with that overhook, but Pascu just pushes him away. Pascu, no doubt, the fresher fighter here. Energy could become a factor.
There's the bombs from the hooking style of Pascu. He rolls, he throws the right, he rolls back, he throws the left again. Santana, full credit to him, Chris. He's shown his chin has been tested, and he's not been wanting. He's cut, his eye is swelling, but he's still there standing and trading with Pascu.
Nice switch kick again there from Pascu. The end of the second frame here in Dublin.
The thing for me here, Chris, is that knee is so vital because that was a dominant round from Pascu, apart from the knee. And these strikes, as I said, he takes the extra step in, look, the hooks start going, there's more power there behind them now.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Obviously, the point deduction, maybe not as pivotal because Pascu really poured on the octane here. Good, solid flurries. Certainly a 10-9. If it wouldn't have been a point deduction, maybe even a 10-8. More liberal 10-8 rounds being scored currently now in MMA with some of that revised judging criteria, but the point deduction was significant. Take a look here at the corner, you see John Kavanagh and the SBG crew now back to the corner of Omar Mickey Santana. The Spaniard actually significantly more experienced than Pascu, but he's gonna really have to dig deep here. This third round could be important.
Now, I really feel that John Kavanagh, even as we said, we discussed those points, he'll be telling Pascu, you've got to finish this surely, Chris. He'll be saying, carry on like that, you've got time, step in, get those big bombs going.
So the third and final round here tonight at BAMMA 32.
And I've got to ask, Chris, when does Omar stop taking the risks like this and maybe try and tie Pascu up knowing that he's got those points in the bag from round two?
Well, for one, he has to get behind a solid jab. Number two, he needs to change the angle on his attacks on the feet. A lot of times you see Omar moving in and out in a straight line that sets him up, A, to be hit by Pascu, and of course makes that takedown very predictable and very easy to see.
In his defense, his striking is nice and loose and accurate, but it's the way, again, he even sets up his strikes. It leaves him open to those counters.
He needs to gain the respect of the Bomberman. He needs to really try to make Ian think twice about being first, because right now, Pascu is really continuing to have his way right now.
And that's the thing. Pascu, as you said, the versatility of his striking, and picking up on something you said earlier, the way he lures Omar towards that big left hand. It's subtly done, but it's cleverly done. And he's still patient, considering that second round, still taking his time. But again, as you can see there, Omar, he's not shabby as a striker.
He's got some nice little boxing combinations here. Hand fighting with that lead arm.
He's got a chin.
Yeah, the problem is those slow shots coming straight, they leave him open to the hooks of Pascu.
And again, he's being walked down. There's the right, it clipped this time, but it's another danger sign that he's not listening to.
The corner has done very well to actually slow the swelling under Omar's right eye. Visibility will be an issue, so when he's moving to his right, Pascu's left, he's gonna have to really try and be careful and keep his defense up. I
just feel if we stay in this pattern as it is now, the inevitable is going to happen if we stay this way.
The left came in there from Pascu. It's a nice inside slip, though, from Omar.
And we're looking at the clock ticking down now, Chris, and with that internal clock by Pascu, there might be a level of desperation creeping in now because he has got to finish this really to be certain of securing a victory.
So nearing that halfway point, you often look for a fighter to crank it up, especially on that sprint to the finish, that last round. But Pascu's being smart. He's no doubt respected the skills a little bit more in this round than the first two of Santana.
And again, he stayed in that southpaw stance with Pascu. He's pumped the shots out when he comes in. His timing is good when Pascu comes in. But as you rightly said, when he's actually throwing himself is when he's most vulnerable.
Nice left hook. It was actually a short left hook there from Pascu. Off the kick. He led with the kick and then went to the punch again.
And this is probably where he only doesn't want to be, because I feel that Omar Santana, if he can tie him up, and especially if he can take him down, could secure this victory. His chin's not been wanting, his heart's not been wanting, but you feel that Pascu really needs, within this last 2 minutes, to take that extra step in and let those combinations flow. The man is there to be hit, Chris.
Some solid head movement there from Santana. It's been better this round.
He looked for a short chopping elbow as well, but I worry that he constantly remains there in front of Pascu. And he seems happy, but that doesn't mean it's safe or the right thing to do.
That's better. I like the double jab. He's got reach as well. That's another thing he could exploit in this matchup, but he hasn't really used it to his full physical benefit yet.
I have been impressed with his timing. When he does throw his punches, the timing is right, and they're accurate. They're very straight. They're very, what we call in the trade, bread and butter, but they do land because Pascu is forced to come forward. He wants to get there for his hooks, and he has to take these shots to get to the range he needs to be. But he needs to exploit it more. Now time is beginning to run out for the Irish crowd's favourite here. He really has to step it up.
Again, Pascu dipping his head, kind of half committing to strikes. That's when you just need to start kind of paying attention to the details, because he'll throw a few little pitter-patter shots and then change the rhythm. That's a good way to kind of set up a knockout shot. It hasn't really been so much about the single power shots that we've seen in previous performances.
Well, that roll needs to finish with a big hook. He's getting in closer. You roll and throw, because he's inside 30 seconds. And Santana has really been, shockingly for me, comfortable in this position.
And that was the takedown that I wanted to see in this round. We saw him use it in the first to great effect. Smart takedown here for Pascu.
Chris, we're inside the last 10 seconds. I think Pascu has taken this round. I think he's done enough. He's been the man constantly going in. The takedown might secure it. It all depends now on the judges' final scoring, I feel, of that second round.
So we go the distance tonight here in Dublin. Pascu and Santana delivering a 3-round grueling fight of attrition. What a great way to start things off here tonight in Dublin.
Chris, one of the things that shocked me was Santana's tactics. He was happy to stand there in front of a man with heavy KO power. And do you know what? He did well.
Sometimes if you're a jiu-jitsu fighter, sometimes, you know, there's no doubt Pascu is aware of his Brazilian jiu-jitsu base. You've got to go to a plan B. He couldn't get him down a couple of times. He did try. He's looking for a head snap there. He had to really dig deep and stand and trade. And that third round, obviously, he was most comfortable in doing so. The big question is, will Pascu's efforts be enough given the infraction?
The infraction will be the talking point of this whole bout, Chris. It will be the key to who wins this now, because Pascu, a lot of great shots in there, as we see. But that second round, for me, is key to the whole outcome now.
On my unofficial scorecard, I've got Pascu doing enough to win this fight despite the infraction. The judges are going to tally up the results, so we'll get those momentarily here in Dublin. But again, just beautiful exchanges from Pascu. I think he scored enough points. He wasn't able to get the finish. Will it be enough? We're going to find out in a second.
Yes, you're right, Chris. But for me, that man there, Omar Santana, what a chin, what a heart. Could have taken the easy route out with the infraction, won the crowd over by saying, no, I'm still here, I'm still going for it. He might pay the price for it, but I think he's won a lot of hearts here with that. So here we go. We are going to get the official result now from our MC, Mr. Buddy Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout goes the distance, 3 rounds inside the BAMMA cage. And we go to our judges' scorecards. Judge 1 scores about 28-27 in favor of Santana. Judge 2 scores about 28-27 in favor of Pascu. And Judge 3 scores about 28-26 to your winner by split decision, Ion Bombadero Pascu.
Chris, you called it right. You called it right. He's taken the decision.
Well, it was a great fight tonight here in Dublin. Pascu and Santana, a real clash of styles, but it was Pascu striking in the end that did enough to take it on the scorecards.